Hi, and welcome to In Search of Insight, Nootropics Depot's monthly podcast. I'm your podcast host, Erica, and sitting next to me, as always, is our product specialist at Nootropics Depot, Emil.
Hey everyone.
And today we're super happy to be joined by Paul, the founder, owner, and thinker behind Nootropics Depot. We're going to be talking about a really, really popular and exciting product. It happens to be our new fiber product, InfiniFiber. And we're going to be telling you about the formulation process, about all of the amazing reviews we've been hearing from you, from our customers, from our viewers. We've been hearing really, really amazing results that you guys are experiencing, so that's awesome. And we're going to talk about the science behind it, of course, as we do on every single podcast. So thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks, Paul, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks guys. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about why you decided we need to have a fiber supplement in the Nootropics Depot catalog.
So fiber has been kind of a hot topic, at least the last year, 2 years. I think a lot of people out there have probably been seeing the instances of colon cancer, rectal cancer going up, high profile deaths from younger and younger people from colon and rectal cancer. The most recent one was James Vanderbeek, the actor from Dawson's Creek, who was 48 years old, had 6 kids, and then died from a fight with colon cancer and rectal cancer. So, it is now the largest source of cancer death in people under 50. So I've been seeing that the last 2 years. I've been looking out and seeing the rising rates of colon cancer, seeing the deaths get younger and younger. Ironically, my wife also was sending me articles and turning me on to this idea of there's something going on here with colon cancer. There's something that needs to be addressed. And my wife is 41, I'm 40. You know, we're at that age that we need to start thinking about, hey, colonoscopies will start becoming in our future, and probably, maybe based on the data, should have already started. But growing up, I just, probably like a lot of viewers here, saw commercials on TV of old people with Metamucil, right? They've got a cup, they're stirring in the Metamucil. And when you're young, you're like, oh, okay, these old people are taking fiber, and it's something that maybe I'll have to do when I'm 70, but not now. And I think that pervasive viewpoint, at least personally for me, made me not take fiber seriously, because it's an old person thing, and I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing that maybe should be studied someday. The ads that you're exposed to as you're growing up, that are meant to try and say, hey, you got to take your fiber seriously. When you're a young kid, you're like, well, I'm not old, I don't want to deal with that. So it almost makes you think, I don't need to take fiber seriously. So when I started seeing the instances of cancer go up, and I started reading the research studies, and I started really doing the research in the background on why, like, what's going on? Why are 48-year-olds dying of colon cancer? And not like somebody that didn't have access to really good healthcare. He was a wealthy actor that seemingly had, in the United States, that seemingly had access to the best doctors and the best facilities out of Los Angeles. Why was he not able to fight this off, and why did he have to go through it in the first place? So I really started looking inward and going, I'm not taking fiber seriously. I'm 40 now. What if I'm being an idiot? And I intermittent fast, so I eat 1 meal a day. And I usually eat in a 1 to 2 hour eating window. So most of my day is fasted. And I've worked up to that point, and I just feel better in a fasted state now. But it also means that when I eat, it's really hard to get the RDI of fiber in 1 meal, unless you're trying to do so. So the InfiniFiber really stemmed from my wife and I kind of talking and going, hey, are we taking fiber seriously enough? And the answer was no, for my wife and for me. And in doing so, I said, okay, well, we need to take fiber seriously. How do I do that? Well, I need to go out and buy a good fiber. And that's where I'm like, okay, well, we don't currently have a fiber. Who out there is selling a fiber that would be good? And that's generally how a lot of our new products get started these days. It's us internally going, hey, we want to have access to X. And then we go out and go, what exists on the market for X? And then we go, well, not a whole hell of a lot exists on the market the way we want it, so we got to develop it. And that's really what happened with fiber. And I said, okay, Now Foods is pretty good. They fail sometimes, but generally, if I buy a Now Foods supplement, it's probably not going to be totally fake. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go buy Now Foods psyllium husk. And then Thorne, similarly, like Thorne has gone through some changes now with their buyout from LVMH. So I don't necessarily trust their science as much as I did, but when I buy a Thorne supplement, I know I'm not going to get something completely fake. So generally, if I'm like, all right, there's something we don't carry, I need to go out and try something early and start beta testing things, I'll generally look at Now Foods and Thorne and go, okay, this is at least safe for me to take. So that's what I did. I bought the psyllium husk from Now Foods, and I bought the Fibermend from Thorne. And I started beta testing both of them. And what I noticed immediately, I think psyllium husk is fairly well tolerated, and it's kind of the go-to these days, right? Mm-hmm. And with psyllium husk, it swells a lot. So the nice thing or the bad thing, depending on who you are, that swelling does provide more fullness. So when I started taking the psyllium husk, it really helped with that. Like if you're in the middle of the day and you're fasting and for some reason you get hungry, taking psyllium husk because of that swelling action makes you feel more full. So it allows you to wait until your normal eating window. But then the Fibermen was more of a fermentable probiotic, a prebiotic. And immediately I started noticing, I don't know who designed this fiber supplement, but it's way too fermentable too quickly.
Okay, but can you be a little more specific there? Or do you not want to be more specific?
No, I mean, we're talking about fiber, we're talking about, stool and pooping and serious stuff like colon cancer and rectal cancer. You have to be able to talk about these things, or else they're just going to continue to perpetuate because nobody's going to address them. So the side effects that I was getting were bloating and gas. That's the most common side effect that people have by jumping into a fiber. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just need to take a half dose. And even then, the half dose was causing bloating and gas. And, to be perfectly frank, I was farting all day. Like it went 0 to 100. And I'm like, okay, I know we need fermentable fiber. I know we need to feed the good probiotics in our system. But if somebody off the street, an average consumer says, all right, I need to eat more fiber, they start taking Fibermen and they immediately get bloated and gassy all day, they're going to stop, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
One of the biggest determiners of whether a treatment from your doctor is going to work is whether or not you stick with it. And that's universal across whatever it is you're treating. If whatever you're taking to treat, whatever symptom you're having, it makes other symptoms worse and you just stop it, then it didn't help you in the long run. So I immediately said, okay, the psyllium husk is fine. It does what it does, but it's not very interesting. It's just psyllium husk. And psyllium husk has a lot of problems with heavy metals because most of the psyllium husk is grown in India and it absorbs a lot of lead from the environment. So I'm like, and everybody's selling psyllium husk. So I'm like, I'm not just going to bring out a psyllium husk. The Fiberman, I'm like, okay, this is a lot more complex of one. This seems more like what we would make at Nootropics Depot, more innovative, more thought process put into it. But the side effects were just way too high. So then I started looking around and I got Garden of Life Super Seed, which was pretty good. I think that one's a fairly interesting one in that it's mostly sprouted seed based, which it depends on who you talk to, right? Like there's a lot of people that are saying seeds are bad for you right now. So, but taking a little bit of the fiber blend, the psyllium husk, and the super seed together worked fairly well. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more bloated. I have a little bit more gas to deal with, but I'm also buying 3 supplements from 3 different places, and it's not ideal. So I realized there wasn't a fiber supplement on the market that was what I would want. And I know it's cliche, you hear this a lot from people, from owners of supplement brands online right now, especially the more influencer driven ones. They're like, what I wanted didn't exist, so I went out and created it. And it's become kind of a trope. But for me, it's true. Like that's what Nootropics Depot is. When I want something, we go out and develop it, and I make it the best it can be because I'm going to take it. I'm going to give it to my wife. I'm going to give it to my friends and family. So I need to make sure that it's the best it can be. And it's not just lip service. It's not just marketing. It's genuinely, this is the fiber that I wanted to see on the market, and it just didn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's something across all of our products. People ask us, why do they work so well? Well, it's because we want them to work well. We test them on ourselves until they work well. We don't just start with one formulation and then go, yeah, it looks good on paper. We're never going to try it. Just put it out onto the market. And I do think a lot of companies end up doing that. Maybe they have the right intention of wanting to develop a product for themselves and their family, but they don't go the extra mile of going, hey, maybe this is not ideal. Let's reformulate it a bit. And it's understandable why you wouldn't do that. We spent like 2 years, a year and a half on this product.
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe some other companies are doing a bit of bioassaying and beta testing before the product actually comes out, but I feel like Nootropics Depot is pretty unique in the depth of the bioassaying that we do, and just the fact that like you will give me a sample of a new supplement, and without saying anything, sometimes what I should expect or what to be aware of, you just give it to me and say, hey, take this. What do you feel? What's different? Do you notice something? How long did it take? And I feel like that's pretty unique. Maybe there's some other companies. I don't know. Are there people from other supplement companies watching this podcast? If so, perhaps you want to share your beta testing practices or not? Nah, just kidding. But the point is, it is really personal, and also it's that beta testing circle is growing, bit by bit, but it's still really like the hardcore people who are willing to try new products and who also have the ability to explain and express what are we sensing, what are we feeling, what do we like, what do we not like, and to commit to taking it for a certain amount of time to know, like, yes, we like this extract. No, we don't like this formulation. And what do we need to take out? What do we need to add in? Can we make it more cost effective? Can we make it more streamlined? Can we make it more synergistic with the rest of our stack? Because it's also not like we're only taking a fiber supplement. We're also all taking lots of supplements. So it has to all work really well together. And that I do think is quite unique.
And to your point of not everyone being ready to do a beta testing of a very interesting, novel product that they might not understand, we've definitely seen that where like just a handful of us are trying it. But with fiber, everyone wanted to try it. Like there was really a push. And when people were running out, they're like, hey, can I have some more? And we kind of had to wait until the production batch. And we also ran out. We loved the sample. And I think you had the same issue. And,
Oh, yeah. Well, and then that's generally one of our indicators of how popular a supplement is going to be. If we're beta testing it and everybody runs out and goes, wait, how do I get more? And I know for my own use, when I'm beta testing it and I run out and I'm like, shit, I need to get more. And then, I'm talking to our ops manager going, can we make up another batch? Can we do this? I'm like, okay, that's signaling that we got it right.